And what is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the LBank show. I'm your host, Muhay. Today with us, we do have an amazing guest. And you did see the tweet announcement very right. We do have Solana Foundation to close off 2023 of show season with us. Of course, we will learn more about their accomplishment in 2023 and what did they do past 12 months. And of course, we will learn what is next to come for Solana Foundation. We did see a lot of news coming from their end, and we are happy to learn more about it. Of course, my speaker today is also coming from Solana Foundation. His name is Jon. Jon runs the ecosystem engineering team at Solana Foundation, where he spends his majority of time guiding teams and companies to their Web3 journey. Of course, he previously built out NFT collection for Orca, Phantom, Barcel, and Welcome to Chinatown. Before that, Jon spent 8 years architecting front ends and culture at Coursera. And I will not take more of his time today because we want to learn more of Solana. Yeah. Anyway, guys, let's hear from Jon. Jon, can you hear us well?
Yep. How are you doing?
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the LBank show, and we are very honored to have you on. Today's show is gonna be made up of three parts. The first part is gonna be what has been on your mind recently. The second part is gonna be some of the AMA questions to know more about Solana, and the third part is a closing part. So, please, Jon, let us know what has been on your mind recently. I mean, the market is going crazy. Maybe we're in the bull market. There's a lot of building in the Web3. So what has been on your mind, Jon?
Yeah. We recently got back from our conference in Amsterdam. We do an annual conference called Breakpoint, and it was a really great opportunity to see a lot of these founders and these companies and these businesses in person. It was great for them to see each other. And what's on my mind there has been around exactly what you mentioned, which is that it has been a long bear market. These founders have had to go through a lot, and it's cool to see how they've persevered through a lot of adversity, a lot of things going on, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely an honor to work in the Solana ecosystem. Beyond that, I'm thinking a little bit about different technologies that are coming to the network and the protocol, different new capabilities that'll be present for businesses and products, all that sort of stuff. So that's really exciting and really just gearing up for 2024.
Amazing. I mean, what we are here now is to maybe know more about Solana. So, can you walk me through the history of Solana? So, when did Solana originate? Why did it originate in Web3, and so on? If that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer to the best of my capabilities. I was not around for that, but I have been in the Solana ecosystem for a couple of years, and I've known Raj and Toli for a long time now. Solana really started to help provide an alternative way to handle smart contract blockchains, right? Like, needed something fast, needed something cheap, and the fast part was really important, and the decentralized part was really important because things like data really govern how economies work today. And the prototypical example that's used is, the like the stock market, right? Like, the stock market requires a ton of specialized infrastructure, Bloomberg terminals. You need physical proximity to different areas, and it's just not an approachable process for the layperson, right? And so prototypically, we have to trust other people to do this for us. Solana provides an opportunity to sort of provide equal access to that data and provide a lot of capabilities that are knock-on effects of that. That's only in the finance area. There's so much more that we've discovered that Solana is capable of over the last few years.
Jon, what I want to ask you about and figure right that question is how does the Solana different itself than the other blockchains that we have in the industry?
Yeah, I think there's a few different pieces. I think at its core, accessibility is a really important piece, right? So it's really inexpensive to use, and part of that has to do with how fast the actual chain is, right? So um, speed, should feel like a very snappy experience, And it does that by doing a few things. One is that it parallelizes the execution of transactions. So if you're sending USDC here and someone's sending USDC here, and they're coming from different accounts, they shouldn't overlap. So let's run them and execute them in parallel. And I think that alone is a huge piece of why why it's just a better user experience. The second is just like how the blocks get propagated around the network, and those blocks are actually getting streamed. So as the blocks are getting packed, they're getting streamed to the rest of the network for validation, and that's fairly unique. You don't have to wait for the block to finish before you propagate it, and that's that way. By the time the block's done, everyone has already seen it. Like, great, let's move on. The Solana network is just it's moving really fast. It has a slot scheduled for every 400 milliseconds. And based on the latency today, it's like it's possible that you send a transaction and it lands in the current block that's being packed. And that's a kind of performance, characteristic that's very hard to mimic on other chains.
Indeed. And you did mention that you guys are moving fast and that you are just building and building. And I want to ask, how are you guys revolutionizing the Web3 space? I mean, infrastructure that you guys have is basically high performance and low cost network that you call it itself. So, how are you guys paving the way for the whole Web3 industry, if we can say that?
Yeah, I think again that all this comes back to like accessibility. So one concrete example is around finance, and if we think about things like payments, remittances, anything that goes cross border, you need something cheap, you need something fast, right? Like, and more often than not, we're seeing that companies are looking to sponsor that experience on behalf of their customers. And I think that just makes a really great experience for users. Prototypically in crypto, I find three main problems: gas token, seed phrases, and identity. And while the third one is particularly difficult, the first two can be solved by companies. And I think if you can provide a self-custodial experience where you can send USDC on Solana, for example, from one part of the world to the other instantaneously, there's not a ton of reason to have to think about the native gas token, right? The company ultimately will take care of that. So I think that sponsored experience, I think, is really important and paves the way for just a better user experience. You have to provide actual value, business value, both for merchants as well as for customers itself, to justify some of the onboarding costs that it takes to get into crypto. Outside of that, I think outside of the payments sphere, I think a lot around composability, and that composability gives you the capability as a company to operate with incredible operational leverage. I'll explain a little bit more about what that means. What that means is if you're a company and you're, I don't know, three people, you should be able to build, a very, very successful company by working together with others, right? So in the prototypical Web2 space, you might have to raise a ton of money, hire a bunch of people, and have to build everything in house. On Solana, with smart contracts and the ability to compose with different ones, you can actually do a lot of that both without having to create smart contracts or reusing existing ones, or being able to provide interoperable assets. So, for example, as soon as you are able to tokenize an asset, you can, as an NFT, for example, it immediately enters an ecosystem on Solana that allows you to provide a lot of capabilities, like the ability to rent an NFT, the ability to programmatically own an NFT, the ability to collateralize a loan against that same NFT. All of that can be introduced as soon as it becomes an NFT, and as long as you're sort of the trust provider for making sure that the NFT is relevant to something in the real world, then as a company, you don't have to do or build any of that software. You can just work with other people.
And we did touch on the theme about the builders in the Web3, and you guys are definitely that safe haven for the people to come and build application on it. So, what are some of the best practices and tips for building and deploying the apps on Solana? So, such as using Solana Project Index with Solana SDK and the Solana Explorer. Pardon me.
Yeah, I think there's a few things here. One is that there are some misconceptions, or maybe just things that people don't know about Solana. So prototypically, people approach any blockchain and have to think about, hey, like, how do I build my own smart contracts? How do I do XYZ thing? How do I handle the experience from the user? Uh, a lot of those things are, when you try out Solana, are actually not that hard. So basically, one, if you're doing anything with NFTs, say that you're just minting an NFT, you actually don't need to deploy. You don't have to develop, deploy, or audit your own smart contracts. You can reuse ones that exist on chain. And I think that's a great, again, operational leverage bit where now your team doesn't have to figure all that stuff out. You're not risking, funds getting stuck in a wallet or something. It's all pretty straightforward. I think you combine that with a user experience where instead of having to think about gas and thinking about transactions sitting around waiting to get accepted, they can be accepted by the chain within a second or so. You get a pretty great user experience. So it's very similar to your Web 2 experience. So as people build more products in Solana, they realize actually it's semantically a simpler vision of the world. And then you combine that with when you do want to get to the complex part of Solana around things like account abstraction, smart contract wallets, that sort of stuff, you'll quickly realize that account abstraction and sort of that idea of a smart contract wallet has existed, and this is exactly how Solana is built. The program runtime and how it uses the account model means that you can have programmatically owned assets, and you can have programmatically owned accounts where the addresses at those accounts can be controlled by a program. And so you could do something like transaction rate limits. You could have something where someone signs for a wallet without having to have a seed phrase. You could have the capability for like an NFT to own other NFTs. These things all exist already on Solana, have been around for the last few years, and I think people are slowly understanding. And maybe we didn't do a great job of like packaging it up and calling it account abstraction, but these are all things that the programs on Solana help enable.
And if any builders are listening and ensure they are, why should they come on Solana?
I think ultimately, it depends on your demographic, right? If you're building a product for Ethereum people, it probably should be on Ethereum, right? But when you want to build consumer products that are going to scale to the sort of the wide world of people, Solana is the best place to do it. It's cheap, it's fast, it's predictable, and it's one of those things that's relatively easy to abstract away. So you build a great product experience, you build a great a business around it, and the users will get the benefits of crypto, but may not need to have to deal with the prototypical risks of crypto. You combine that with an ecosystem of teams and builders who have, again, gone through a ton of adversity, and you get the makings of an incredible place where you work together with other folks that just like know how to get things done. I think that's really important. Sometimes it's better to be pragmatic in a lot of cases, just to make sure that we can learn more, right? We're very good at learning, we're very good at growing, and that's just a nice place to be when you're building a company.
Indeed, and we actually 2 episodes ago we had one of the biggest gamify projects on Solana. It's Star Atlas. We had them 2 episodes ago, and they kind of explained that Solana did help them much, and they did choose the right blockchain to build on. So, whatever you said is definitely true. And any builders that are listening, please tune in Solana. I have a question. I mean, we are coming end of the year, and what are some of the latest developments and things that Solana did in 2023?
Yeah, wow, there was actually a lot. I mean, considering where we started at the beginning of the year, everything has been incredibly it's been an exciting time to be a part of the ecosystem. Just off the top of my head, a couple of hackathons. The Hyperdrive hackathon had the most registrations in all of Solana history, something like 900 signups, or sorry, 900 projects submitted, was actually pretty massive. We had multiple teams migrate from their own chains or from other chains to Solana. Helium and Render are sort of the prototypical examples there. So we're starting to see Solana become a home for DePIN. We saw new technical initiatives like Firedancer. Firedancer is the first independent Solana client being developed. It's being developed in C by the Jump Crypto team. It hit testnet just a month ago, so we're starting to see some progress there. And of course, I mentioned this earlier, but we had our 23 edition of Breakpoint, our annual conference. It was held in Amsterdam, and it was just a wonderful opportunity to see everyone. There's so many announcements that happened during that time. It was really hard to keep track, honestly, but it's great. The excitement was electric. Definitely had to keep each other warm given how cold it was in Amsterdam, but that was a lot of fun. And then coming into the close of the year, I think I'm very excited to see where token extensions are going to go. Some people have heard of it as Token 22, but token extensions is a sort of the newest edition of the SPL token program, and it provides SPL tokens the capabilities to do some really interesting things. For example, confidential transfers, the ability to have programs as part of the transfer hook. Permanent delegates allow for programmatic ownership of assets, and a whole host of other things, including metadata. And the combination of all these things allows for a ton of expressiveness. So that's what I'm thinking about coming into the close of 2023 and hoping to see more of that happening in 2024.
So what is coming to 2024, if we can touch on those themes? I mean, it's going to be a lot more conferences, it's going to be a lot more building.
I think obviously the building will continue. I think part of our mission here at the Solana Foundation is to help empower the community to help them grow themselves. So things like hacker houses have been a great opportunity to work with teams and visit them all around the world. But there's always the long tail of people asking us, "Hey, like, when is the next hacker house coming to Malaysia?" I'm like, "Well, I know nothing about Malaysia. Our team, they know something about Malaysia, but like, who would be a better host for this? You." So, trying to find ways to empower teams to take sort of the Solana flag on themselves, and help stand them up. So I think we'll hopefully see more teams thinking about running their own events and conferences and stuff like that in 2024. We're going to see a lot more technical initiatives start to figure themselves out. Firedancer is one that I mentioned that I think is going to be pretty compelling. There's another client called SIG that's also in development, and we're gonna see a few different things happening in 2024. And then token extensions. I mentioned this already. I think it's an exciting piece of technology. I think we're going to see a bunch of financial institutions pick up on it in terms of stablecoin issuance. I think people in the broader crypto industry are starting to take notice of the capabilities of Solana and where it can help either add to or replace some of the work that they're doing on other chains where it just doesn't work from a performance standpoint. So we'll start to see more people trying to deliver, real business value using Solana.
John, I mean, I did intro before you come on, and people will kind of scoop up what you do in Solana. But how did you came in the Web3 space, in the crypto world, in the blockchain? I mean, why did you choose Solana?
Yeah. Well, partially, I've known Raj for a long time. He's a friend of a friend, but we used to hang out a lot back in the day, and I think it's incredible to see his journey as a founder, as an operator, and seeing how the ecosystem has just grown exponentially since him and Toli and the rest of the team started it. So I've been an admirer from the sidelines for a long time. I joined the Solana ecosystem as a freelancer. I helped a few teams build out NFT collections. I worked with folks like Orca and Parcel and Phantom to do different kinds of NFT and sort of like Solana related work. And that was like a great opportunity to just kind of like understand some of the pains at the time of being a developer in the ecosystem, but also just to get a sense of the vibe in the community. I joined officially Solana Labs in March of last year, and then transitioned to Solana Foundation last year as well. And in that capacity, I now operate as the head of the ecosystem engineering team. And our team really sits at the intersection of um, technology, business, and innovation. For lack of a better term, we translate the technical capabilities of the Solana network to the broader Solana ecosystem. So when teams like Visa or Shopify or Discord or Google or Stripe are trying to understand how to operate in Solana, how to be successful in Solana, in the Solana ecosystem, our team is here to help enable their tech teams. But it's not just the big teams that we work with. We work with all of the small founder-led teams. The 2-3 person Web3 team that's just looking for where they're going to be starting off their journey. We'll help them as well. And so we provide a lot of that support, architecture review. We help guide technical strategy here at the Solana Foundation. And my team's about 6 people, and we operate across a bunch of different verticals. So, payments and commerce, DeFi, social and creator, infrastructure, new initiatives. I'm forgetting one. Games, entertainment, media, and sports. Like, we have a bunch of different verticals that we support as a team, and we are the sort of like technical subject matter experts here at the foundation.
Indeed. I mean, shout out to the team, the whole team. uh, John, as we came to the end, and I think we can talk about Solana for hours and hours. I mean, to touch in the deep core of Solana, we need a lot of time. And what can the Solana community expect in 2024? Any partnership? Maybe we can relieve any secrets partnership now.
Unfortunately, nothing that I can talk about. No alpha here, but the real alpha is the friends we make along the way. And I think there's going to be a lot of folks coming from other ecosystems, investigating Solana, understanding things for the first time. I think we're going to see a lot of new folks building on chain, and they're going to bring their culture, their principles, and their values with them. And I think that's totally great. I think we should be welcoming of all the new folks coming in. We want to solve real problems, and we can't get caught up in sort of chain maximalism. I think we need to spend time understanding the true value of what we're doing, and how it's going to translate to the broader world. So it's not about the technology in the end. It's really about what kind of business problems or what kind of problems we can actually solve. And I think that's a pretty universal thing that folks want to get behind.
Indeed, and Solana did solve a lot of problems in the crypto world. We can say that. Definitely, John. It has been an honor, and thank you so much for coming on and helping us understand better for the LBank community better about Solana. So, in the name of LBank, thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully, we will have maybe another show anytime soon or Twitter Space. So, thank you so much.
Sounds
See you
great.
next time.
Thank you for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye.